So what put you on the Hill in 2016 specifically? Like, what sent you there? What drove you to that act?
They pissed me off. They pissed me off. You know, I voted for the Liberals. I'm sorry to say.
Oh, I'm disappointed in you.
I suffered a lot with what the Conservatives were doing.
Yeah.
And I suffered a lot. And I thought maybe, you know, this might be a change. This might be something else. It's not Chrétien. It's not Martin. It's a little shrimp that wants to do good. But, well, that spring, actually, it was almost summer. They were patting each other on the back for doing completely nothing since they got elected, and then they leave Parliament early to take a summer break. So I said, "Fuck, my MP is going to be in the area. Where's my MP?" So I look up where my MP is. He is right in front of my freaking place. So I said, "Well, I got to go talk to my MP." I went to talk to my MP. I think it was on a Friday that I figured it out. And on Monday, I stormed his office, demanded an appointment. I got an appointment on Thursday with Marouane Tabara. He's a Liberal MP for Kitchener South, Hespeler.
Mm-hmm.
And we sat down, and I had a witness with me. I videotaped it, and he did some promises. He started giving me the BS about sacred obligations and said, "You don't have a sacred obligation. You have a legal and moral obligation, you know." And when I walked out of there, I got absolutely nothing from the man. I brought him John Dow to talk about Mefloquine. I gave him the reference to talk to Dr. Nevin and everything else. And he gave me absolutely nothing. And his inactions is the reason why I took action. I wanted to be heard. I wanted this in public. I wanted, like, you know.
So what happened on the Hill then?
Well, on the 19th of September 2016 was the first day that the Parliament was open after their summer break. I showed up. I was there on the first day, and I started my starvation strike at 8 o'clock in the morning. And at around 9 or 8:45, the MPs started coming. So I started talking to anybody to figure, like, I didn't know. It was my first time on the Hill. I don't know how the Parliament works. So I started asking questions. Some journalist guy that was going inside, I thought he was an MP. So I asked him, I said, "What's going on? What's the best place? What's this? I need to get an attention from Ken Hare. You know, I want to talk to Ken Hare. I want to talk to Harjit Sajjan. I want to talk to Jane Philpott." He says, "Well, they're all coming through that door right there. All the ministers are coming through that door right there." So I stood in front of that door and I started screaming at all the ministers that were walking in, saying, "Hey, tell Ken Hare that he's got a veteran here starving himself to get answers." And it didn't take too long. 15 minutes later, a group, it was Ken Hare's assistant and Harjit Sajjan's assistant came out, and they took me in. And they sat me down with a group of all it's a room of about 12 people, asking me questions. What do I want to talk about? This, that, and the other. And then they said, "Okay, well, we're going to give you a meeting. Just stand still." I said, "Well, don't worry. I'm not leaving till I get answers." And around 10 o'clock, somebody called me and they said, that they were going to have a meeting at noon, an emergency meeting at noon with the three ministers. And that's when I sat down with the three ministers. It was Jane Philpott, Dr. Jane Philpott. It was Harjit Sajjan, who was a defense minister, and Ken Hare, who was the Minister of Veterans Affairs. I sat down with them and explained them my issues and what I learned and how come this wasn't out and this is why we're having issues with suicide. I pointed to Jane Philpott and I said, this is a national health issue. Her response completely disgusted me. She said that she was only there to support her colleagues. So I turned my attention to Sajan because he's a veteran himself, okay? And the only thing he can do is look at me with his mouth open. Oh, you know? Then I got some BS from Kent Hare. Kent Hare started throwing me some hot air, and he said, we're gonna open a committee on Mefloquine, and we want you to come and speak. Well, me, all right, fine. We're going to get this on the record, you know, and it's going to be public. It's going to be recorded. It's going to be, then they can't deny anymore. Because this issue has been in Parliament quite a few times, but completely ignored, you know. From what I've seen, from the research that I did on the internet, it was like, it's ridiculous, especially with the work of John Cummings.
Yeah, I've been reading some of the testimonies and the meetings and stuff like that, and over and over and over again, they keep talking about the requirement for an investigation, the requirement for study, the requirement for this, and all we get is this watered down Surgeon General's report that says, well, it's safe to use, you know, but there's no investigation, there's no facts.
You've got a conflict of interest, yeah. Because the Surgeon General works for D&D, and who is the criminal in this? It's D&D, you know? They criminally, I say criminally.
I agree with you.
But the way they've done this, the illegal drug trials, phase 3, we did phase 3 in Somalia, where there was 3 murders. There was 3 murders, Abel and those 2 Somalians. Yeah. Right. And 1 attempt suicide, which is Machi. And
an additional psychotic break as well.
Oh,
that happened down in Mogadishu, I think it was.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, the guy that turned around the ship.
Yeah. He was my hero, actually, but I mean,
he tried.
Yeah.
A C5 knife.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a psychosis.
Yeah, I know. I mean, we laugh about it because we were there and what we experienced, but it's really not something laughable. It's like this is what's been ignored for 26 years.
It's very serious because now people like look at the young man that took his life and took his family with him.
Yep.
No, Lionel Desmond.
That's right.
He was on the same tour as Brandon Kett. Brandon Kett, the young Afghan vet that came to testify at the committee. He's been a strong supporter of me, and from day one, actually.
He's on my hit list too, by the way.
Good. He's a good man, and he's well articulated, so I think he can explain himself pretty well. He's not like me. I'm a grunt. I have no more filters. I think that's why my advocacy has been, I don't know, poor, because I'm very aggressive. And I don't paint pictures with different colors. If it's black, it's black. If it's white, and I'll tell you if you're freaking wrong.